Hello, teacher.
Hello, Luz. How's it going?
I'm fine, thanks.
Great. So, I also have to be with Lorraine. Please give it just 1 minute to see if she arrives. In the meantime, I'm gonna just explain you that today's topic is gonna be about grammar, and it's an advanced topic. Okay?
Okay, teacher.
Great. Okay. Let me just share my screen. And Luz, can you please tell me if you see my screen?
Yes, teacher.
Excellent. So, as I was telling you about, we're gonna talk about though, although, though, despite, and in spite of. This is a topic of advanced grammar. So don't worry if it's too hard for you. I'm gonna make it very comprehensible, and we're gonna work in this together. Okay. So let's start with the first uh, slide. So I would like to ask you, have you used these words before? I mean, although, though, in spite of, and despite?
Um, About me, I have used when I read in something and I think in Spanish we were used
Mm-hmm.
in order to connect um, the ideas when I am writing,
Mm-hmm.
depending of the I want to write. If I use the despite, and in some cases I use uh also the
Ah,
other I don't I don't remember.
no, okay, don't worry about that. That was Lorraine, right?
Yes, teacher.
Okay, how about you, Luz?
Okay. For example, in determinate situation for express um, um, the situation, the um, the situation can be to her to her um, and problem um, I don't know.
Yeah, that is actually a good attempt. So both of you were right. This one is a word that I really like to explain the idea of although, though, in spite of, and despite. And it's a very special word that we use to connect. And what do we connect? Phrases and clauses. We're gonna talk a little bit more about that in just a second. But good of you to know about that. So let's start by getting to know what is although and though. For this, I have prepared these four sentences, and we're gonna look one by one. So please center your attention on the first sentence. Although the exam was difficult, I got a high score. So although is here, it's at the beginning of the sentence. Okay? Make sure it's at the beginning of the sentence. Also, what's special in this sentence? We have a comma. So we're talking about two ideas. Although the exam was difficult, we can say this is kind of negative. Although the exam was difficult, comma, I got a high score. So this sentence is positive, right? So we're linking a negative clause with a positive clause. When we have a situation like that, we use although or though. You're gonna see in just a moment, although and though means just the same. So to explain you that, let's see with though, the same sentence. Though the exam was difficult, comma, I got a high score. Here, I can use although or though. It doesn't change the meaning of the sentence again. We're using a positive clause. Oh, I'm sorry. This one is a negative clause. And this one is happy. Okay? Now, the difference between although and though is that you can use it one of those in different places. So although can be used at the beginning of the sentence and can be used also in the middle of the sentence. Whereas though can be used at the beginning, the middle, and the end of the sentence. Let me explain you this right now. So please put your attention in this phrase. I think I got a high score, though the exam was difficult. So here though is in the middle. It's no longer in the beginning. So this means it can be used at the beginning and the middle. Alright? Now,
Right.
please center your attention on this final phrase. The exam was difficult. I got a high score though. So we're using though at the end of the sentence. This one is at the end of the sentence. So let's summarize that. Although can be used at the beginning of a phrase or in the middle. Though can be used at the beginning, the middle, and also at the end. Is that clear for you guys?
I understood you that also is used in the beginning of the sentence or on the middle.
So although is
Although
used at the beginning of the sentence or the middle.
or the middle.
Whereas though it has more chances. You can use it in more ways, at the beginning, at the middle, or at the end. But we're gonna practice that in just a little bit if you're still confused. So although and though, someone, I think it was Lauren, yes it was Lauren, told me it's a word we use to connect ideas. That is true. So let's imagine in mathematics we have 3 plus 3. This one is somehow connecting, the plus is connecting the numbers. So although and though is also connecting ideas. But what kind of connection? it's a contrast connection. Like I was just doing the analogy. One is happy and one is sad. One is positive, one is negative. Let's see here. Although the exam was difficult, this one is negative, right? I got a high score. This one is positive. Who can help me do this? Though the exam was difficult, is this positive or negative?
Could you repeat me again, teacher?
Let's look at this sentence. We need to find if this clause is positive or negative. Is it positive or negative? Though the exam was difficult.
The first part is negative because
Negative.
Yes.
right the exam was difficult, and the second one is affirmative or positive.
Yeah, that's correct. So you see there's a contrast. A contrast means when we find a difference in two things. So we're trying to connect those. Okay, now let's go with the exercises. I'm gonna help you with the first one, and then you guys will help me with the other exercises. So we're gonna hear the food was good, comma, I didn't finish my meal. So the food was good, yeah, but I didn't finish my meal. Comma, I didn't finish my meal. I can use although at the beginning. I can use also though at the beginning. It doesn't matter. So let's use though. It doesn't make a difference because it's at the beginning. The only difference will be at the end. Okay, so.
Teacher, I have a question.
Huh?
Also and also and so has the same meaning.
Yes, they have the same meaning. Exactly the same meaning.
However, in this first sentence is used why is used both and not also. Or I can use both.
You can use both. It doesn't matter. I just use though because it was my preferences.
Okay.
We can
Okay,
use
no
both.
problem, teacher.
Okay. So these two first exercises, I want Luz to help me, and Loren, wait until we finish the first two exercises. So Luz, please help me do this sentence. The music was good. I didn't enjoy it.
In the start is positive. On the second part is negative. We can use algo or to.
Yes. Though or though, it doesn't matter. Which one would you like to use if you have to use only one? Which one do you think sounds better? The music was good, although I didn't enjoy it. Or the music was good, though I didn't enjoy it. Which one do you prefer?
It's good.
Excuse me, teacher.
Alright, so it doesn't matter, don't worry about it. So the idea here is that we can use both. It's just your preferences, it's just what you think is best. Now, Loren, help me do this. She cooked well, comma, the meat was okay. What can I use here?
I think is Thought, thought. Yes, I think it's thought because it's on the end of the sentence.
Yes, that's correct.
So,
So we can only use though. And if
mm,
this is a good tip, though in Spanish sounds like dough. Okay?
so
Now that was good. Okay. Luz, please help me do this exercise. She didn't like the trip. I enjoy it a lot.
Uh, uh, can be can can to be a go or toe.
Good. Although or though. And finally, Lauren, please help me do this last one exercise.
the dog guard, guarded the house.
Mm-hmm.
Also, the thieves entered the house.
Okay, good. Can I use also though here?
Yes, teacher. I
Very good.
think yes is right use thought
Okay. Again, remember,
again.
if you uh, are going to use this word at the end, you can only use though. You guys did very well. This one was right. This one was right, and everything was right. So what's the difference? If they mean the same, there must be a difference. And the difference is that one is formal and the other is informal. So, although is considered to be formal,
Formal.
that means,
Though
and though it's considered to be informal, that means,
could you repeat again, teacher?
yeah, of course. So, although is formal, whereas though is informal. Okay.
Okay. Mhm.
What does this mean? Although is usually for the textbooks, used on the textbooks. Whereas though you can use it with friends. You will see it in movies, you will see it on the streets. People use though. Okay? Now, I'll write the different positions where though can be used. Let me just give you a reminder. Though and though. So although, who can tell me where can we use although? Any of you?
Teacher, could you repeat me again? I couldn't hear you very well.
Okay, so the questions is write different positions where though can be used. So for the first one, what can I use here? It's at the beginning.
Algo.
Although. Good.
Okay.
Now Loren, what can I use here? For the second sentence.
I I think on this day,
I'm sorry. Although or though?
though
Though. Yeah. Though. And I can also use although.
and though.
And in the first one I can also use though. And the last one. I was tired. I finished the race. I can only use one of these two. Which one can it be?
Though.
Though. That is correct. I can only use though when it's at the end of the sentence. Great. So now let's write the different positions where although can be used. Although. So, Lorraine, can I use although in this sentence?
Okay. Right. Although.
Although. Yeah, because it's at the beginning. Okay, for this second one. Luz, can I use although in the middle?
I'll go or though.
Although. Yes, I can use it in the middle. And Lauren, can I use although at the end of the sentence?
No, teacher. It's
Okay,
only use though.
let's write it. Although. But that will be wrong. You did well, okay?
Though. Though.
Yes, I understood. I'm just writing it so you guys remember. If we ever write although, that's gonna be wrong. But very, very good of you to know those. Now, we're gonna continue with despite and in spite of. Do you guys have any questions about though and although?
No, teacher.
What means have the same means, the same mean. What word?
Like, what is the meaning of that word in Spanish?
My question is also and road have the same meaning.
Yes?
The same meaning.
Yes, they have the same meaning.
In Spanish is means
It can be aunque or a pesar de que, a pesar, or sometimes pero. It's anything that makes you a contrast, like positive and negative, positive and negative, positive and negative. That is the meaning that it has in Spanish. Okay? Maybe it will be a good idea to tell you guys this in Spanish too. The first one, although I was tired, I finished the race. Aunque estaba cansado, terminé la carrera. La segunda, I was tired, although I finished the race. Estaba cansado. A pesar de esto, terminé la carrera. Now, don't complicate yourself with translations. You just guys, you just need to know the function, and it's a contrast. Okay, so it seems like that is very clear. We can step up and know about despite and in spite of. So, again, let's analyze the first sentence. Despite all his money, he couldn't buy anything. We're talking again about something good and something negative. So, although, though, despite, and in spite of mean the same. But please pay attention on this one, despite and in spite of, because we cannot use although in these situations. And what is this situation? So here we have the phrase number 1, and here we have the phrase number 2. Look how in phrase number 1 we don't have a verb. There is no verb. Only is all his money. Okay? No verb. Whereas in phrase 2, we have a subject, he, and we also have a verb. Sorry for that. Now, let's continue with the second sentence. That's gonna be more clear as we go along. He couldn't buy anything. So here's phrase number 1. And here's phrase number 2. Okay, he couldn't buy anything despite all his money. So here we're flipping the phrase. In the first one, we have despite all his money, comma, he couldn't buy anything. And when we flip it on phrase number 2, we no longer use a comma. He couldn't buy anything despite all his money. Okay? Now let's try with in spite. It's the same. Look how it's at the beginning of the sentence. In spite of all his money, comma, he couldn't buy anything. We can also use spite in the middle. He couldn't buy anything in spite of all his money. But when we use it in the middle, remember, we don't use a comma. It's all run down together. So let's continue with this. Flip around the following sentences. As we exercise this, you're gonna understand it, okay? Despite all his money, he didn't know how to speak. I'm gonna do this first phrase for you guys, and you're gonna do the rest. So despite all his money, I have phrase number 1 and phrase number 2. What do I have to do? I need to flip it. So that means number 2 now needs to be number 1. He didn't know how to speak, so he didn't know how to speak. Okay, I just did that first sentence. Now I need to work on this one. Despite all his knowledge. So remember, we don't use a comma and just write despite his knowledge. Okay. Now, Loren, please do these 2 sentences, and Luz, please do these 2 sentences. And when you're ready, let me know. You can write it down on paper, or you can write it on the Skype chat, whatever you feel more comfortable.
Please organize the second and the third one sentence. Organize.
Yes, this one Lauren, and these 2 Luz. If you guys have questions and don't know how to do the exercise, please let me know.
Yes, teacher. Please take into account the example that you wrote.
Yes? What is the question that you have?
I need to use this about the second. I need to use this the personal pronoun.
You need to flip the sentence. So let me clear this and show you it.
The order is changing the order.
So I'm asking you to do this sentence and this sentence. Lauren.
Could Could you repeat again, teacher? I couldn't hear you very well.
Yes, I'm gonna repeat it again with the example, okay? With the example. Despite his knowledge, let's call this number 1. He didn't know how to speak. Let's call this number 2. So I need you to flip around the sentence. Number 2 now needs to be number 1, and number 1 now needs to be number 2. So how do I do that? If number 2 is at the end, I will write it at the beginning. So he didn't know how to speak. That is number 2. You see how it's now in number 1 when I write it? And now number 1, I need to convert it to number 2. So I just simply write it. Despite his knowledge. Okay, is that clear now? Number 2 is now number 1. Number 1 is now number 2. That is the exercise. So
Okay.
what you guys need to do if this one is number 1 and this one is number 2, please show me how it will be if number 2 is number 1 and with all these exercises. Okay. Luz, is that clear for you?
Excuse me, teacher.
Is that clear?
Excuse me. I
So,
can't hear.
okay, Luz, please do these 2 exercises. You're gonna do number 3 and number 4. You know how to do this exercise?
Yes, yes,
Okay.
yes.
Great. And Lauren, you're gonna do number 2 and number 3. I'm sorry, this is 4 and this is 5. Tell me when you're ready and write me when you know the answer.
Mm,
Teacher, excuse me.
Yes.
I forgot.
If it change to position, simple.
Don't worry about the tenses. You will write exactly the same, but on a different order.
Yeah.
You don't need to change the tenses. You don't need to change past simple, past perfect. It's this exactly the same sentence, but on a different order.
Teacher, about my sentence number 2,
Yes?
I wrote going They walk out.
Mhm.
They walk out. The, the fish in, inside of the water, and they walk out is the sentence normal here. Changing the order is they walk out
Mhm.
first, and in spite of
They walk
the
out in spite of the weather.
kind of
This is what you got, right, Lauren?
is I think is from uh before no after before
No, this is good.
oh,
You don't use comma when you have
be-
spite in the middle. When it's in the middle, no comma.
no comma in the middle.
Yeah, exactly. Now, Luz, how are you doing with this exercise? The number 4. I keep forgetting.
Okay. He slept by the garden in spite of the cold. In the start is negative and become positive.
He slept out the garden in spite
Yeah.
of
Of
the
the cold.
cold. Very well. And it doesn't have a comma because now we move it in spite into the middle. Great. So we so far have number 1 good, number 4 good. Lauren, again, please help me with this sentence. Number 2. Despite the warmth, the pools did not dry out.
I I wrote I wrote the cold
Hmm?
people. I wrote the cold did, did not die out, comma despite the rain. Uh,
Despite the warmth. Yeah, that is very well. Let me write it so every one of you can see it. The pools did not dry out despite the warmth.
mm,
Good. Now, Luz, please help me do the final sentence. Number
Okay.
4.
Everyone welcomed him
Hmm?
despite the hate.
Excellent. You guys did all of them right. So let me just write it again so everyone sees it. Everyone everyone welcome him despite the hate. Good. Now, despite and in spite of. This is an explanation. Despite and in spite are words that link one clause that does not have a verb. This is called a phrase. So you guys remember when I was talking about number 1 and number 2? Well, this number 1 actually has a name, and this is called a phrase. How do we know this is a phrase? Because it doesn't have a verb. Can you guys see any verb in this phrase? No, there's only here
Oh,
is all his money. So we call that a phrase because it doesn't have a verb. Okay, now number 2, this is called a clause. And why is it called a clause? Because we have a subject, he, and we have a verb, by. So a clause has a subject and a verb. A phrase doesn't have a verb. That's the difference. So we use despite and in spite when we see any phrase that doesn't have any verb. We cannot use although here because it doesn't have a verb. Alright? Now there's also, now let me go back.
teachers, yes.
Do you guys have questions about this? Phrases and clauses?
uh, the phrase has not verb, right? The phrase.
Exactly. And the clause? What does a clause have?
And the clause has subject,
No.
verb.
Yes, the clause have a subject and a verb. Subject.
It's beside and inspired of kind of is when a person wants to use a clause that does not have verb.
So
Only 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 use when five out of the in the beginning
yes,
or in the mid or in the middle.
exactly.
However, when I want to use beside or inside of um, in the middle of the sentence, I I shouldn't use comma.
Mm-hmm. When despite or in spite of is in the middle, we don't use comma.
Uh,
Just like here, you see, everyone welcome him despite the hate. It sounds you can run this sentence. We don't wait like when we have a comma. So again, remember, despite and in spite of is only when we have phrases. If there are no phrases, we use although and though. Okay?
uh, repeat again, please.
Yeah, of course. So despite and in spite of here, these two words, despite and in spite of, we can only use this when we have phrases. You see this? And what is a phrase? A phrase is a group of words that don't have a verb.
Okay.
Alright. Luz, is that clear for you? Okay, let's continue. Don't worry about it. So, we're gonna have some more exercises, and you will realize what I'm talking about. Now, gerunds. Any one of you can tell me what is a gerund?
When a verb, for example, and
Mm-hmm.
finish an ing
Yes,
on the end of the verb.
that is correct. So whenever you see a word that ends in ing, that is called a gerund. But more specifically, let me read you this. Gerunds are verbs that end in ing to show the permanence of time, or verbs like behave like nouns take the place of a subject. So verbs like behave like nouns, let me explain you that. Let's take the example of the verb to sleep. This is a verb, but it can also be used as a noun. And when it's as a noun, it's called a subject. So here, to sleep, if we add ing, that's a gerund. So sleeping is good for you. How do we know this is taking the place of a noun? Because I can simply say mm, food food is good for you. This is a noun, this is a verb. But because it's in ing, this is also a noun. So a verb that behaves like a noun. Alright? Is that clear?
Gerunds is used with and the end of the verb,
Yes, it's when you
and
have a verb and you add ing.
when is used when the verb is written um, like a subject on the sentence.
Yes, exactly. Uh, so let's say
Okay. For this example, sleeping is good for you.
exactly. You got that very well. Now, why I am talking to you guys about gerunds? Because we use despite whenever you see a gerund. So despite being on time, this is a gerund. Look, it's a verb that ends in ing. I have to use despite. Whenever I use a gerund, I have to use despite. That is the only rule that it has. Is that clear? Is that rule clear?
Um, it's important. You mentioned that we should despite
Mm-hmm.
together, despite if the next verb is in gerund.
Yes, correct.
Only only if the verb is in gerund.
Only if the
Um,
verb is in gerund. So we cannot use in spite here. If I say in spite being on time, that is no longer correct because it doesn't sound right. In spite being on time, no. We say despite being on time. This is good. Clear?
okay.
Okay, let me check right in just 1 second. I think we uh, Luz, are you still here? Okay. It seems like Luz is no longer here. We're gonna continue with you, Lauren. All right.
Okay, teacher. I understand. I understand so far that um, when the verb is in gerund,
Yeah.
um, I can use despite
Yes, that is true.
in the beginning, or in the middle of the sentence, or
Mm-hmm.
only in the beginning.
You can use it in the beginning and in the middle, but
Okay.
make sure there's a gerund. So for this, I also have an exercise. Flip around the sentences with gerunds. So remember that exercise we did where I asked you to flip number 1 and number 2? We're gonna do the same here. So I have number 1, number 2. Flip it. So if number 2 is he became a doctor, I want to flip it to number 1. So I write first he became a doctor. And now number 1 has to be in the place of number 2. Despite being poor. It's just exactly the same, but this one takes the place of this one. So Lauren, please do these exercises. Let's do one by one, okay? Please do this one and let me know when you're finished.
Okay. Okay. I um
Mm-hmm.
the sentence is despite
Mm-hmm.
despite having little money,
Having little money. Continue, please.
he bought
He bought
the house.
the house. Good. Now do the this is the second, the third one, the fourth one, and the fifth. Do this, and when you're ready, please tell them to me. Okay?
Okay, I think I finished.
Okay.
I
So
mm,
read read this sentence. She'll look for the guy despite having no more energy.
okay. This and the third, yeah. Despite having despite having no more energy, she looked for the guide.
Good. That was very good. Okay, now the next one.
Despite the heavy waves,
Waves.
waves, waves,
Mm-hmm.
he sighed, he sighed,
He sailed. So
sailed.
despite seeing the heavy waves, he sailed. Repeat.
Despite seeing the heavy waves, sorry. Despite seeing the heavy waves, he sailed.
Excellent. All right. And the last one. Please tell me the.
Despite despite breathing the nasty food, he um, ate. He ate.
Excellent. You did very well. Now, let me try to do a quick summarize. Um, okay, here, click this one and this one. So, although, give me just 1 second. So today we learned that, oh my god, it depends on the letter. Okay. So although and though mean the same. It's just contrast, okay?
Okay.
Although we can use it at the beginning of the sentence, we can use it at the middle, and that's it. But though we can use it at the beginning, the middle, and at the end. What about in spite of? In spite of and despite. So here we said we need to use it with phrases. Phrases, remember, are a group of words that don't have a verb. We can also use gerunds, but which one I use of these two can I use it with a gerund? Despite of or in spite of?
Jeron, despite.
Gerund. Gerund. And these two for phrases. Excellent. That was it for today. Maybe do you have any question?
Yes.
Yeah, go ahead, tell me.
Yes. You said although and though is used for contrast. For example, negative and affirmative situation.
Yes, contrast. Negative and
Although,
positive.
although is used in the beginning and the middle, only in the beginning or the middle, no and the end.
Correct.
And though is used in the beginning, middle, and the end.
Yes, correct.
Okay. In spite of is used with phrases. In
Yes,
spite of, in spite. phrases is when there is not verb.
Exactly, no verb.
Okay.
And it's also used for contrast. It means the same. Contrast. So when we have something positive and something negative. Just let me go back to the flip around the sentences. Okay, here. So he couldn't buy anything. This is negative, despite all his money. So positive. Contrast. Okay.
Okay.
All right, Lauren. Well, it's been a pleasure having you again, and that will be pretty much it for today. Thank you for being here.
Okay, teacher. Thank you very much. The last question is
Yeah.
when in the last example that you showed me is use comma, but in the right way is no the other.
Mm, this one?
No,
Ah, here.
no. In when there are colors, blue and red
Here.
here. Um, in this case, is use comma before. Uh, is use comma. However, when we change the order, um, it's not necessary use comma.
Exactly. So when, in spite of all his monies at the beginning, we use comma. But when it's at the middle, it's not necessary. Middle, we don't use comma. No comma. If you want, you can take a screenshot of that. Maybe that can help you.
Yes, teacher.
Hmm.
It's only use comma in in the beginning
Yes,
when
exactly.
or both despite and in spite of.
For both, exactly. Here, look at the one in red. Despite is at the beginning, and we're using comma because it's
Yes.
at the beginning. But when we do it at the middle, we no longer need a comma.
Okay.
Hmm. Any more questions?
Oh no, teacher.
Excellent, Lauren. Well, thank you for being here, and well, have a nice day.
Thank you, teacher, for the time
No,
and
it's a pleasure.
explanation.
Okay. Well, bye bye. Goodbye.